Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Friday, August 7th, 2020 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is I find balance by loving on my inner child. So, shifts and changes today. We have Venus finally moving out of the sign of Gemini. It has literally been in Gemini since early April. So that's really long time. Venus cycles are almost the same as the Earth. So usually it takes about a month to move through a sign. So this is a big shift. We'll have Venus moving into Cancer at 8:21. Oh wait, am I right? Yeah. 8:21 a.m. Pacific time. So major shift. And I think this is going to be a really interesting Venus transit. So this is like, okay, we're done with that Venus retrograde lessons, although hopefully, downloaded some, embedded them, embodied them, even better than embedding them. But we're heading into our Mars retrograde. In fact, when Venus shifts into the next sign, when Venus moves into Leo, Mars will be going retrograde. Right now, we're deep in that Mars, slow down. And the reason I bring this up is because Venus and Mars really do represent a lot of the yin and the yang energies, and they really do affect and play off of each other. And they do really affect us in our daily lives and in our relating and relationships. So keep that in mind as I give you some of these downloads, some of these lessons about this Venus in Cancer energy. So Venus in Cancer. Cancer represents our home, our family, and our foundations, feelings, intuition. Venus represents relationships, value, what we value, our self-worth. I said relations, right? Relating to each other, relationships, and our gifts that we have to bring. And so there's a lot of different ways that these energies intertwine and play together. One of the first things that really came up is this is going to be a really good time to take some time, do stuff around your house. Again, Cancer representing home, family, foundation. Venus, she loves a temple. Venus loves to have a temple to live in. So if you're thinking about doing renovations or making some changes or buying some new pillows for your bed or anything, this is a really good time to nurture yourself through nurturing your home. So that's one little aspect that's coming up. One thing that's been coming up really strong about this Venus in Cancer transit. Cancer energy can get very attached. And we learn our attachment styles in early childhood. Again, Cancer can connect us to that family foundation energy. So this is a really good time, especially as we feel that Mars energy doing its thing, preparing for the retrograde, going to slow down. I swear Venus retrogrades and Mars retrogrades are really challenging on relationships. So as you feel that slow down, so to speak, as Mars is preparing to go retrograde, as we're in the shadow before that retrograde, you may notice unhealthy relating attachment styles coming up. And again, like I said, these all do relate to that early childhood energy, which is also covered by this Cancer energy, but be very aware of that coming up. Be very aware that it may be frustrating and you may find yourself in the feels, because we haven't had enough of that this year, right? It's been definitely a deeply in the feels kind of year. Gifts, really tuning in to the yin gift of intuition, listening to that inner knowing, listening to your gut, the gut instinct, that kind of energy. To me, that is so connected to Cancer energy. So be very aware of that. Venus, here's something I didn't say. Venus is also very connected to pleasure. When we have Venus and Cancer combined, pleasure really can become food-based. So indulge. But be aware of overdoing it. And again, if you find yourself overdoing it, check and see if maybe there are some feels coming up that you are trying to distract yourself with that pleasure energy. Is there anything else that I really want to bring up with this Venus in Cancer energy? I know I've said this so much this year, but this has been an ongoing lesson, and I think it's a really important one for us all to learn. Really honoring the nurturing that you need. What I say with Cancer time is like, can you treat yourself with like an infant? Are you meeting your basic needs? Here we have Venus, which is, a very nurturing yin energy in Cancer, a very nurturing yin energy. Can you have compassion on yourself? What is it that you need, and how can you show up for yourself? I think that's one thing to look at. I always say this about my Cancer mother. She has always taken care of all of us and my father at the expense of any of her needs. And so that can be a Cancer trait, taking care of others at the expense of the self. So if that's something that you find yourself doing, please come back to yourself and notice what are your needs at this time and how can you show up for them. All right, so that's one shift that we have going on, this Venus in Cancer. And I do want to note, Venus will be 0 degrees all day, so you may find that yin part of yourself kind of offline for the day as we go into this transformation mode, as we tune into this energy. Again, if you feel kind of out of it, kind of wonky, self-care. That's the way you want to turn with this energy. But I also feel like a lot of times when Venus is at 0 degrees, again, relationships may feel a little wonky too. So awareness of that. All right, so like I said, besides that, we have the moon. Moon is finishing up in Pisces early in the morning and shifting into Aries in the very early AM. In fact, I love always looking at this. The last transit for Venus before shifting into Cancer is a square with that Pisces moon. So you may have in your dreams before these shifts, you may have some more downloads, information coming in. If you wake up with some of those ahas, that would be that. And really, I think the work would be to honor the ahas with your yin through this Venus and Cancer transit. So be aware of any of those energies coming through in dream time. All right, so moon in Aries. Now this, compared to like the yin energy, which is kind of offline, moon in Aries, that's yang energy, very strong. So you may feel very yangy. And in fact, we will have double fire going on with the sun in Leo and moon in Aries. So even if you feel a little bit out of it, you may be ready for all systems go, rocket ship off. What cards do I have? I haven't even looked at those. Oh, very interesting. All systems go, ready to rocket. And meanwhile, your intuition may not be getting through to that primal, I'm going to go and I'm going to do it now. So before you take that action, do listen, do tune in. That will probably help. Also be aware of that fiery, impatient temper potentially rising with the moon in Aries and sun in Leo energy going on. And then the only connection that we have with the moon after it shifts is with Mercury in Leo. So if you do something, do it with all your heart. But I do suggest, again, a lot of self-care, nurturing. We really do want to create a world where that becomes more of the norm rather than a special occasion. So just keep that in mind. Like, to bring about that balance, that needs to be more of a normal thing. How are you going to care for yourself? How are you going to take action to meet your needs? How are you going to take action in order to love yourself? So, okay, let's look at these cards. Patience. Such a yin card. Patience. Patience for whatever is going to be created during this time. Venus and Cancer, very, very creative time. Beyond illusion. Again, really listening to your intuition, because illusions, stories, flying all over the place. Your discernment is necessary. The patience card may also speak to the double fire energy. Like, don't just jump off the cliff. Please tune in beyond the illusion. Tune in to your higher knowing. Comparison. A lot of people will criticize and compare themselves to you, especially if you live a more yin lifestyle. And yet the universe is like, it's time, you're ripe, it's ready. No comparison. Everybody gets there when they get there. And maybe you're listening to this and you're like, I just can't do that yet. Okay, so you're not there yet. But foster those seeds within yourself. Because again, this is something we really do want to foster in the world. No shoulds about it. So I'm going to leave that right there for now. You can book a reading with me. Email me, mimiclark@gmail.com. Besides that, the better it gets, the better it gets. There's more than enough love in the world for you. You have the power, and stay curious. Namaste.